Right now, 20 meters below the surface of a sandy bay off the coast of Australia, a group of octopuses is doing something they are not supposed to do. They are living together. For 300 million years, biologists agreed on one thing about this animal. It was solitary. It hunted alone. It mated once. And it died alone. No octopus had ever needed another octopus for anything. Then, in 2009, a philosopher dove into that sandy bay, pointed a camera at the seafloor, and pressed record. And what he caught on film rewrote 300 million years of biology. Most people, if they think about the octopus at all, think of it as alien. 8 arms, 3 hearts, blue blood, a nervous system spread across its body. But the one thing every textbook agreed on, the one trait that defined the octopus across every species on Earth, was that it was alone. In the next 8 minutes, we are going to look at the moment 2 scientists found a place where that assumption broke. A city built underwater by an animal that wasn't supposed to be capable of building anything together. To understand why this discovery shook marine biology, you have to understand the octopus the way scientists understood it before 2009. A typical octopus lives between 1 and 5 years. It hatches from an egg about the size of a grain of rice, drifts in the open ocean for weeks, and if it survives, settles to the seafloor and begins a life of careful isolation. It finds a den, a crack in a rock, a discarded shell, a bottle that fell from a passing boat. It hunts at night, mostly, crabs, clams, smaller fish. And when it encounters another octopus, the encounter is brief and usually violent. They fight, they flee. Occasionally, they cannibalize each other. Mating itself is a kind of suicide. The male approaches the much larger female, extends a specialized arm to deposit sperm, and is often eaten in the process. If he survives, he dies within weeks. The female, in turn, lays her eggs, refuses to eat, and starves to death guarding them. This is what biologists call semelparous reproduction. Reproduce once, die. Every octopus species ever studied followed this pattern. They did not form groups, they did not cooperate, they did not share territory. Until a philosopher with a diving suit happened to point his camera at the wrong piece of seafloor. The philosopher's name was Peter Godfrey-Smith. He teaches at the City University of New York, but his real obsession is what the mind of an octopus might feel like from the inside. In 2009, he was diving in Jervis Bay on the southeast coast of Australia when he noticed something strange in the sand below him. Mounds of empty scallop shells, not scattered the way shells normally fall, piled, deliberately, around small openings in the sand. Inside each opening, he saw an eye, an octopus, then another, then another. He counted 15 of them living in an area smaller than a parking space. What he was looking at should not have existed. Over the following months, Godfrey-Smith and a colleague named Matthew Lawrence began returning to the site with cameras. They watched the same octopuses for hours at a time. They saw them defending territory, hunting in overlapping ranges, returning to the same dens night after night, watching each other. Most importantly, they saw them communicate. When 2 octopuses approached each other, their bodies changed color. Dark, aggressive males flushed with deep red and black patterns. Smaller, retreating males went pale. The colors had meaning. They were signals. Godfrey-Smith published a paper. He named the place Octopolis. But that's only half the story. Because if Octopolis was real, the obvious next question was whether it was an accident. Maybe the original mound was just one weird spot, a site where, by coincidence, enough scallop shells had piled up to create artificial habitat for octopuses that would normally have nowhere to live. Maybe these octopuses weren't really social. Maybe they were just trapped. Then, in 2017, a researcher named Stephanie Chancellor was diving at the same site when she found something Godfrey-Smith's team had missed. 20 meters away. A second mound. A second city. They called it Octlantis. Working with marine biologist David Scheel at Alaska Pacific University, the team observed Octlantis for hundreds of hours. They documented up to 15 octopuses living there at once. They watched them fight, mate, evict each other from dens, and signal with their skin in ways that had never been described in a solitary animal. The paper appeared in Marine and Freshwater Behavior and Physiology in October 2017. The conclusion was straightforward. This was not an accident. This was not a coincidence. Octopuses, at least one species of them, formed communities. They had been forming them possibly for thousands of years, and science had simply never been looking in the right place. But here is where this becomes harder to talk about. Because if octopuses can form communities, even small and unstable ones, what does that mean about what they are? A solitary animal does not need to communicate. It does not need to recognize individuals. It does not need to remember the face of another member of its species. A social animal does. When Godfrey-Smith watched the residents of Octopolis interact, he noticed that the same octopuses seemed to recognize each other across days. The same color signals appeared between the same individuals. The same conflicts repeated. The same dens were defended or surrendered, depending on who showed up at the entrance. In his book, Other Minds, Godfrey-Smith wrote that the octopus may be the closest thing we have on Earth to meeting an alien. Not because of its body, although the body is strange enough, but because the last common ancestor we shared with this animal was a small, blind, worm-like creature that lived in the ocean 600 million years ago. From that point on, our two lineages went in completely different directions. Our brains became centralized. Theirs spread out across their arms. Our nervous systems organized around one face. Theirs organized around 8 independent limbs. And yet, on a sandy bay in Australia, members of this completely alien lineage have built something that looks, from a distance, almost like a village. A village we never knew existed. Made by an animal that 300 million years of biology said should not have been capable of building anything at all. For 300 million years, we thought we knew this animal. We thought it was solitary. We thought it was silent. We thought it lived and died alone in the dark, never needing anything from another mind. But 20 meters below the surface, in a bay most people will never visit, 15 octopuses are watching each other right now. They are signaling with their skin. They are defending homes built from scallop shells they carried one by one from the sea floor. They are doing something the textbooks said they could not do. Maybe they always did it. Maybe we just never looked. The world is full of cities we do not know about, built by minds we have not yet learned how to see.